Hey everyone, this is Jaeger here with Brusher's Toys, and today we are going to do something different. I know that you see a blank canvas here, and usually we have an unboxing or we have a stock of dinosaurs or we have a box, but I was going through my toys and I wanted to talk about the Velociraptors. Some near and dear to my heart. You know, here in Montana we have a lot of Velociraptors. You know, they find a lot of skeletons. Museum of the Rockies, all that, and a lot of raptors. But I wanted to talk about the Jurassic World and the Jurassic Park Velociraptors and go through them with you. And I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, like with what Mattel's been able to do and looking at the previous Kenner line and Hasbro. If you could have Mattel go back and do do any dinosaur that you could of the Raptor line, would you have them remake one from the Hasbro line or the Kenner line? Or would you have them just keep putting out like these guys, where they're not really, I don't know, not so much playability, but more like movie screen accurate. I'm going to set blue there, but what I wanted to do is we're going to go through, because like I've told you guys in our previous videos, we're going to go through and start at 1993 and go up with all the Jurassic Park toys. But we're going to start with the Velociraptor in this video to compare. This is from 1993. This is my very first ever Jurassic Park toy I ever had, was the Velociraptor. And I thought when this guy came out, this was so movie accurate, and the detail, the figure, the action feature. I never had this guy break. I know it has a couple paint scratches in it, a couple things in here because it's been in the tub with all the other dinosaurs. But, let me just bring this up and we'll go through these. And you can see the paint and the detail. Like this to me was like the toy my brother, myself, my cousins, everyone wanted. We all had a lot of Velociraptors so we could have our pack of Raptors. And I just thought that action feature was really cool in the detail. Everything was painted on here. So we're going to set that Raptor here. That's Jurassic Park. Now, here's the deal though. I only have a couple that I've opened of the Mattel line just because I never was really a fan of these. I have them sealed, but I just didn't like the flimsiness of the arms. Like these here I think can break super easy, and the playability, it's I don't even know what Raptor this is supposed to be, if this is supposed to be a remake of that, but you could see like you can't tilt the head. You can't do any of that. The arms are extremely flimsy. And this is all you basically could do. There's, the mouth, the tail. The tail doesn't even really, you can't twist it up and down, any of that. I get that you can't do that, but you had that feature with the mouth and if you squeeze the leg. But again, and there's the code if you need to scan it. But this is from Fallen Kingdom toy line here. This was one that I was excited to take a look at and dive into. And I don't know. It's just with me, like Mattel had to start somewhere. So we'll say, okay, so Mattel starts there, and let's see if we can even get to stand. I think we'll have to stand it probably like that if we're lucky. Okay, so we've got that. All right. So now let's pick on, let's set this one. This is another Jurassic Park one from my pack from Kenner. So we'll set that one there. Now let's go Lost World Jurassic Park. So the only difference is there was a darker paint and there was capture gear. I know that there was a series 2 of Kenner with capture gear. And like I said, we'll go through each one when we go through our collection one by one, and those videos will be separate for each dinosaur. But when you look at this, same feature, Site B for Lost World, because it was Site B, same action, same detail, arms moved up and down, paint was really cool. You could have them attacking, going like that. There was no roar, but you could just see the color difference. So you could tell that this was a newer dinosaur. So 1997. So we'll bring it up, set that there. So we've got our our pack of 3 Raptors. And I get that, you know, some people might be like, oh, those are so old. Those are, those were Kenners. Okay. So now here's the thing, like I said. So I don't have a lot of the Mattel ones. So let's pick on Blue from Fallen Kingdom. This was the extreme damage one. Now, here's the deal. When I bought this, this is how it came in the box. This leg is bent in, so I don't think it'll ever stand. But you can see, this is how it came. Those have been sitting in storage for, I don't know, close to 30 years. You know, and that's what they look like. Blue is not painted. Blue's head is painted. Blue's body is painted. You have this cool little battle feature here, which is really cool. But again, there's really no action feature. You can open the mouth and you can turn the head down, which is really cool. But I still think, like, hear me out, for playability in that, you should be able to, you know, have an action feature. That's just me. But, you know, guys, like I said, this is just my opinion. We're all entitled to them, so we'll set Blue there. And like I said, I don't think Blue might stand. We'll use that Raptor. Well, we'll try to stand Blue up, like so. And I feel really bad doing that. But now, let's pick on another Lost World Velociraptor, Cyclops Raptor. What I thought was really cool with this is this was one of the first battle damage Raptors. And this wasn't even in the movie. But this was a really cool dinosaur. And he came with captured gear. And like I said, we'll go through all those in their own videos. But the action features on this. Move the tail. Look how cool that is. Look, the claws are painted. Look at this. Yes, it's a little scary, but it's a Cyclops Raptor. It's missing an eye. You know, this, I'm telling you guys, this toy was played so much. Features work just fine. You know, and look at this. Stands like no other. It's really cool. So, here's the next one. The only other Raptor that I grabbed, that I have open right now, that I found, was our Indoraptor, the grab and growl. Now, here's the deal. I will tell you guys, this figure here, these are the original batteries. They're already dead on this. And, you know, the eyes are supposed to light up. This was actually one of the really cool figures. You know, I think it was like $40 in the store. So we can see that the eyes are starting to light up. One of the problems that these figures had when we saw them in Target was the arms were broken off. We didn't see these as much in Walmart. I don't think our Walmart really carried a lot of the Indoraptor stuff. It was, I don't know, Fallen Kingdom stuff didn't sell real well. So I don't know, but you know, that was the one thing that we heard like the most was the arms were breaking off. So I'll be honest with you guys, the way that I purchased this figure was in a lot on eBay, loose. I did own one of the Grab and Growl Indoraptors. I still have it sealed in the box. But I was like, hey, you know what? I'll be able to pick one up. And I can tell you, this is probably a fourth of the price is what I got it on eBay. All in a lot, you know, so like a fourth of $40. You know, I paid, you figure it was about a $10 figure. But this was probably one of the most cool detailed figures. And it had this action feature. But I don't think that you had to do so much with the arms because unless they're reinforced, they're going to break. But so let's set the Indoraptor right there. Okay, so we've got the Indoraptor. Now, let's jump into Jurassic Park 3. So you've got these Raptors. They're both the same mold. One was exclusive to the Alan Grant chase pack with the motorcycle. And again, like I said, we'll go through those each movie. And then this Raptor came with another pack. And I've got to remember, one I think came with the Outpost and one came with the motorcycle. I might be backwards. This one might have came with the Outpost. I've got to remember from my collection. But, you know, the one thing with these figures is the only feature was push down on the head. They had the battle damage. One thing with Jurassic Park 3 figures is they weren't highly popular and they weren't sought after. I mean, like, you could have scored a Spinosaurus and all those for like a third. They were always on clearance because the figures just weren't that popular. I know that we could find these all the time, and so you see that was the action feature. But again, it had a feature, and it didn't even have to have batteries and didn't have to have sound effects. But you can see claws weren't painted, claws weren't painted. You know, this was the female Velociraptor. But just like overall, like you could see though the detail, right? So we've got the detail, you know, and we'll set her right there. Let's see if I can get her to stand. And, you know, I guess I should show you Jurassic Park 3. So we've got that. So let's do this. And guys, I want you to know, like, making this video, this isn't a bash on Mattel by any means. It's really not. Like, I'm all about, like, you know, seeing how far it's come. Like, I love sitting back and looking and seeing just how far the toys have come. Because, you know, so we've got those two Raptors. Let's put them in frame. You know, and then you've got the electronic react attack Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3. You know, this was our version back in the day before they actually, Mattel came out with the Hammond collection and the Amber collection of the Jurassic Park 3. And the batteries are dead on this, but you see that was the action feature on this. You know, so you had this and it made sounds, and react attack was what our line was called, you know, with the electronics. You know, you couldn't turn the head. A lot of these figures, I mean, I was so disappointed in this line. I mean, I've collected these since I was a kid, but, you know, the dinosaurs, all of them were the same size, you know, and it was sort of a letdown. I remember, I think even Costco, you could get like 3 of these, you know, for a pack for like 13 or 14 bucks. You know, I think KB Toys and all of them had these on clearance, but just, you know, that was the only feature on there. But we'll go ahead and set that one back there. Now, Chaos Effect. Same mold, right? Now, these Raptors here, some of the coolest ones, I was able to buy a whole case of these back in the day off of eBay. There was a case of Chaos Effect. I think I was able to get the case for, I think, $40 or $50 for all the figures, because Chaos Effect was actually pretty hard to get. I think Kmart, our Kmart was the only one that carried them. Our Walmart and them did not. But I mean, just looking at this in the camera, guys, tell me that this Raptor does not just like, it's just menacing, you know, and it's so cool. And you can see even the claws are painted, you know. I guess I skipped because Chaos Effect and then Jurassic Park 3, because this was still that mold. So I apologize in going that way, but I figured I'd go in the trilogy and then go to the Chaos Effect. But you can see just the detail. You got the orange eye. You know, it's still the same mold from 93. Don't change what, you know, don't fix what's not broken, you know, and it still works. Capture Gear came with these guys too. You know, you look at these and they're just so cool. They stand out. I know a lot of people weren't fans of the bright colors and that, but it was supposed to be for that cartoon series that never happened. But you look at that, just a really cool feature, you know, and look, legs still work, not broken. So you've got that, right? Now, let's go. Chaos Effects. Velociraptors. You know, like this guy here. I've got to replace the batteries. But, you know, like this guy, this is one of those where it's like, you know, I'm not going to lie, like, the gimmick feature on this, I don't even think it really works, because you can see it's supposed to be moving. And I think what happened is these arms they've because it's been sitting in a tub, you know, it's supposed to be able to do that action, you know, and I don't think that there's any way, you know, to get that slashing action on here anymore. You know, but I'll do the batteries, we'll replace them, but you guys could just see though, like the detail on this, right? Like, you know, this was a really unique figure, and it was really cool for the time with the feathers and that, you know. I know that the Chaos Effect was extremely difficult to find too, because like I said, like our Kmart was the only place, and they didn't have the internet. Like no one sold stuff online other than eBay, you know, so you had to try to find what you could. But, you know, like I said, you know, see that it's trying to work. It's trying to work that feature. It's just like I said, the arms, you can see those. So like, I mean, look, Hasbro, Not the best, the best feature on this one, but I want to know what you guys think on there. And then what we're going to do is let's go, let's set the Velociraptors there. Let's go the Utah Raptor. Now, I didn't grab my Lost World one because it's the exact same thing. I can do that. We can compare in that one. But, you came with capture gear here, the leg capture gear. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Those are the original batteries from 1994, and it still works. I've not replaced the batteries in this ever. So, that was the feature, though. And what was really cool with this dinosaur was you could turn the talons in. The arms, you can move them. But it was the jumping attack. This was one of the coolest figures that you could get, This one here, everyone wanted the Utah Raptor. Everyone wanted this. And I keep thinking, I saw, I think it was about 20 of these at Walmart, all stacked up. And I just remember seeing them. And I think back in that time, guys, they were $15, if that, And one of the cool things is this is all rubber. This is all rubber. Everything's rubber except for the legs and arms, plastic. But I wanted to make this video to see, what do you guys think? Like, if you could pick and have Mattel make any of this, would you just keep this, or would you go with something like this and just have them use the existing mold? I personally, I'm very passionate about these things because I've collected my whole life. And one of the things that I just, I've seen, because we have all of our original Ninja Turtle toys and our Star Wars, and they've brought back the retro stuff. I don't understand why Mattel does not just remake all this stuff with the same molds, since they own the license now, and remake all these and put them in the original packaging and just resell them so modern collectors and younger generations can get these without paying massive amounts. I understand, everyone's like, well, they're worth money, they're this or that. Yeah, but here's a cool thing. You know what? The original ones will always hold their value, but if you bring these into the modern era, then it gives modern collectors a chance to do it. I mean, we've saw it with Batman Forever. I know that the Batmobile isn't the same, and I know that the Ninja Turtles are not soft rubber, what they were back then, but I'm saying Mattel does the soft rubber, keeps it exactly as is, and repackages it, and puts it out there. I know that they've done their Real Fuel line with the Carnosaur to match the 94, and same with the T-Rex, But I think, I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that they should do that maybe at all? Or do you think that they just need to leave things untouched and just go this route, and just keep repainting the dinosaurs and keep putting things out there? One thing that I have to admit, and I will tell you guys this from a collector standpoint, these are worth more than these, and they will probably always be, even though that these are open. I see these on Facebook, I see these on eBay, I see these on everywhere, and they're always a huge lot, and they don't hardly sell. You can get them like I said, I think I was able to pick up this, an Indoraptor, what was it, a couple Velociraptors. I think it was $20, $20 or $25 for all of it. And then it's you find a lot with these, and it's always $100, $200. And I get that these are older than these, but it's also, I think, because these were so mass-produced and they've always been on clearance. That's why you see them. But I want to know, guys, back on our subject. I know I went off on a tangent for a second, but what would you do? Which one's your favorite? Why? I want to know. I want to hear your guys' feedback, your thoughts, your comments, because I love making these videos for you guys. I love showing off my collection, and I love helping spread the joy and cheer of Jurassic World and Jurassic Park like everyone else. And I just want to know, which one would you choose? And if you could have any of these in your collection, which one would it be? I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate all the thoughts, the comments, the feedback. Everything you guys have done has just been awesome. And I just ask that you guys subscribe to our channel, pass this on to anybody that's into Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and just keep sharing the positive vibes. We're all in this together, guys, and we're looking forward to Rebirth. I just want to thank you guys again for watching this, and make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.